Cushaw Soup is on the menu today. Join me. So first, we're gonna need our Cushaw squash, but this could, be a butternut squash or some other type of squash. I got 4 out of my vines, about 10 pounds each. And we would have had more, but the squirrels had some before we got them caged. If you'd like to see how we caged them to keep them for ourselves, I'll link a video at the end. Okay, so we're gonna need some chicken broth. I'm gonna use a little olive oil to saute my onions, and these happen to be a couple of my medium-sized and small-sized Patterson onions. These are the storage onions that I love to do every year for cooking, and they last and last for months. This is some avocado spray, which I love to use for the roasting process, makes it really easy. Some of my parsley from my garden from a couple years ago. Some thyme, salt and pepper, and I've got oregano from my garden and parsley from my garden, and I've got a little bit of onion for garnish. But we'll see as we go along. I've never tasted the Cushaw squash. I understand it has a sweet, nutty flavor. So I'm going to see which of these I think will complement the squash the best. I am going to start by cutting the neck of this Cushaw off. It's a semi-firm texture. Ooh! Look at the flesh in there. Nice. How am I going to attack this? I guess down through the center. I'm gonna try not to go too crazy because I really want to save the seeds from this. So I don't want to, accidentally cut too many of them if I can help it. All right. Oh, that looks good. I'm gonna get a little dish and put the seeds in it. I'm just gonna take all of that matter out of there, and I'll work on the seeds while these babies are roasting in the oven. Okay, I've got that cleaned out, and now I am going to just get some slices to put on for roasting. So I have carved up that big 10-pounder, and now I'm just going to put a little spray of avocado oil across the top. And I'm going to sprinkle on some salt and some pepper, and I'm going to put it in at 375 Fahrenheit and see how it goes. It may take 40 minutes, it may take an hour, might even take longer. We'll see. So the temp is now up to 375, and in to the oven these will go. I think I need to invest in some new pans that fit in here better. All right. I'll look at him in about 30 minutes and check him out. All right, so I am going to pour in some olive oil. So I am going to get my onions in the pot, and I am just going to saute them until they are translucent. Maybe, a couple minutes at the most. Sizzling nicely. I always have a little bit of difficulty cooking up here on an electric stove because I am used to gas where you can kill the heat immediately. You can't do that with an electric stove. But these are just releasing their yumminess and becoming translucent. So I am going to kill the heat now. So let's get in close here and have a check. Oh yeah, these are going to need a good, probably another 30 minutes. Okay, it has been an hour and 15 minutes. And these are ready to come out. So I have taken all of the skin off of the roasted Cushaw, and I did leave the caramelized parts because it's amazingly delicious. And we have the onions down at the bottom. I will be adding some chicken broth as I go here, and then I'll use my immersion blender and blend this down. Then I'm going to decide which spices I want to put in. Well, it is all warmed now, and I've added the carton of chicken broth, which is 32 ounces, and it's probably not going to be enough. I'll probably have to put in more chicken broth, but I'm going to use the immersion blender now and see where we're at. Okay. So this definitely is really, really thick. So I am going to add another can, which would be how many ounces? 14.5 ounces. All right, let's see what that does when we blend it. Okay, I have blended that, and as you can see, it's super stick to the spoon thick. So I am adding another half a can. See what that does. More. Okay, all of it. All right, let me just immersion blend that a little bit more. So I have now added a 32-ounce box of broth and two 14.5 cans of broth to my 10-pound Cushaw squash. There was salt and pepper when I roasted it. So now let's just give this a taste and see what we're going to do. That's good. It's sweeter than I expected. I think thyme might be the answer. Thyme and parsley. Let me try that. So what I have chosen to put in here is about 2 tablespoons of butter, salt, pepper, and parsley and thyme. And we'll see what that does. Well, that was just what this soup needed, and we did have a beautiful luncheon with friends. Then the next day it was off for some apples. We would have liked to do the pick your own, but it wasn't open on this day. But we did get a couple of nice bags of apples, and we got the Macoun, which happens to be our favorite. This is a nice little market, inside and out, every year. We love going there. We also stopped at our favorite fish haunt. Well, it's leftover Cushaw squash soup from the luncheon we did here a couple of days ago. And this is a whitefish done locally, smoked whitefish spread. And this is a whipped feta and lemon spread that I made on top of sourdough that our friend brought us. So to top the soup, I've got some green onion, some Jimmy Nardello peppers, some sprouted pumpkin seed, some cranberries dried, and some cream. And, you know, I always start by putting some onion on there. That's always a good, and then get a little color with those peppers going on. Plus it's yummy. And some of the cranberries. But you know, you do you. There's a lot of things you can top a soup with that is quite num-num. And there's some pumpkin seeds. And you know, you can of course do as much or as little as you want. And then of course, a little bit of cream with this particular soup is nice. And we'll get a taste and see how it goes. Let me have a quick taste of this for you. A little bit of the toppings. I already know it's delicious because we served it the other day. It really is a delightful soup. The squash is sweeter than you'd expect, but a little bit nutty and very buttery. I did add a little extra butter, but the consistency of that is beautiful. I think I got this one right off the bat. Well, after lunch, we were treated to a special sight. A mama and her baby fawn nursing. She was a little skittish, but she let us watch for a while. And then a little while, there were a committee of Canada geese out on the water. And then the mama doe was back, treating us to another little show. And we had a little drive around the peninsula. The colors are starting to turn. It was getting beautiful. This is an internal lake on the peninsula called Kangaroo Lake. It was lovely. We really enjoyed our visit this time. And then we also got to see a harvest moon. Well, it's time to head on home and leave the lake. Chicagoland, here we come. I hope you enjoyed this week's content. And if you want to see a video about how we caged those Cushaws away from the squirrels, check this one out. And remember that sometimes the only thing we harvest is knowledge. And that's okay. Bye for now. We'll see you on the next one.